Your game rolling?
Mm-hmm.
And we are live here on the pre-race show at Kansas Motor Speedway for the Charley's Beard Company 200. Now, we know that this track can be really fast, it can be really slick, and it can be really, really tight at times. Tell me from some of your experiences here how you would approach this track as a driver.
Personally, I would take it kind of low into turn one and come out high on turn two. Try to get the better speed coming out of turn two. Turn three, turn four would be a little different. It's different on driver's perspective. You can take either lane high or low on entry. But coming down towards the finish line, I would take down to the apron just because it cuts off a lot of ground on that. It makes it a lot shorter than what it could be.
Yeah, and we've definitely seen in the past here at this track that the high side in turn three tends to work a lot better than the bottom. Do you think that we'll see anybody try that outside lane tonight?
It's possible. Like I said, I know that's also referred to as the Larson line at times, going out, so which can be fast, but it also wears down the tires a little bit faster. So it's possible, and it could work. You just got to be smart when you do it.
Now we'll see these guys tonight right off the start. They'll probably all have the same idea in mind where they're all trying to dive down to the bottom of turn one. Do you think that's going to cause any problems, or do you think that they'll fan out pretty evenly and avoid any wrecks going into that first turn right on the start?
It's possible. Like I said, it depends on how they handle it. Like I said, if they go not like you win it on lap one, they should be fine. It's not going to be on how they approach the first lap on the first turn. It's like if they don't go at it like you have to win on lap one. So if they play it smart, they should be fine.
I mean, this is going to be a long race tonight. I mean, these guys have 200 miles here tonight. There's no way that they're going to win it on lap one. I mean, that's going to be impossible. I mean, we're definitely going to see a lot of pit strategies come into play in this race, I believe. Kansas is always going to be hard on your tires as the run goes. I mean, these cars probably will drop off as the run goes. Now, how much they'll drop off is yet to be seen. Now we've seen you as a driver have some success here. Is there any advice that you would give to these drivers in this field tonight?
Mainly be careful on the exit of turn two and not hit that wall coming out, because you will lose a decent amount of speed on there from that. And then same on turn four. And when you're going through that going down to the apron, be careful not to hit that grass when you're trying to go past the finish line. That'd be the huge piece of advice if you use that apron. Do not hit that grass. It will cost you big time if you do.
Yes, definitely stay off the apron. We've seen cars in the past get down to that apron and the back end of their car come out and they'll almost collect somebody else into it, if not entirely collect somebody else into it. So they definitely need to watch out for that. I mean, personally, I think that we're gonna have a good race tonight at this track. I mean, Kansas is always a really good, solid track. I think that these guys will put on a good show for us. What are you thinking that their pit windows are going to be in this race tonight?
Honestly, it depends on the times and where they have. I don't know which one it's going to be. I think they're having on two, so maybe 25 laps. I think it varies really, and it depends on how fast they run the tires and stuff. So it's all going to vary on a lot of factors.
Now we've also seen in the past too that this track can carry a lot of cautions late in the race. Do you think that's going to be a factor in this race tonight?
It possibly can, especially if it gets a little bit heavily aggressive towards the end. It could cause a few cautions. I said only time will tell towards late in the race.
And this goes out to all of our viewers. We are live at Kansas Motor Speedway talking about the Charley's Beard Company 200. We're hoping to have a good one on tap for you guys tonight. And me and my broadcast colleague will be here for every lap and every step of the way here tonight. We'll be calling all 200 miles of this race, all 134 laps. I mean, and these guys seem like they're amped up and ready to go. You know, right now we're going through our driver introduction phase, and you can hear some boos and some cheers from the crowd in the background here. This is definitely a driver's track here tonight. You know, and like we've touched on already, this track can be loose at times. This track can be tight at times. Do you see anybody having an advantage in this race, or do you think that's yet to be seen?
Personally, I think it's yet to be seen, but like I said, I know there's a few guys out there that are decent here, but then again, I've never really seen a lot of them race, so then again, we really don't know. Like I said, we'll find out tonight, possibly the early runs of the stages. You'll probably see who will probably have the best chance, so only time will tell tonight.
Well, I know that we've got a few cars in the field tonight that are chomping at the bit. We've got the 48 that's going to be chomping at the bit tonight to try and get this win. We've got the 4 tonight, and here's going to be a good joke for you. Do not bring a modified spoiler into this race tonight.
Definitely don't bring that modified spoiler, especially if you're the 4. You don't want to get caught again with that.
I mean, we've definitely got some guys that are going to be chomping at the bit in this race. That, I mean, you know, we took a look at them in practice, and you know, some were complaining about the car being tight, you know, center off. So, I mean, you know, we'll see what'll happen, you know, the race trim here, as opposed to practice trim. I mean, because the practice trim is going to be a little bit slower. It's going to be a little bit harder to drive these cars, you know, center off. You know, they were about a tenth of a second or so slower in practice time than probably what we'll see tonight. But definitely, you know, the tires are going to be fading off here, and you know, we'll definitely see what these cars will be like once the tires start to wear, and how much they'll fade, and who will actually find the grip.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, we're definitely expecting a good race just because then, and then late pit strategy come in effect too. Some people could probably take 2 or 4 tires just to kind of based on pit strategy, especially if it comes to a green flag stop for the last stop.
Yeah, I mean, you know, ever since we've seen the stages introduced into this sport, we've seen very minimal cautions in the first 2 stages. So do you think that trend continues tonight?
I believe so, but then I think when the 3rd stage hits, it's going to be all hell breaking loose towards the end. So, I think the 3rd stage is most likely going to be the one with the most cautions.
But right now we're also hearing a lot of drivers also talking about their fuel windows. You know, how much fuel they're going to carry. You know, up here in the booth, we really don't know what, you know, their fuel can carry in these race cars. I mean, you know, depends on, you know, how hard they're running them, how much they're saving their fuel. We do know that if you throw these cars in a neutral, which there's not going to be any manual cautions tonight, but if you do attempt to throw these cars in the neutral, that they do not shut entirely off. All they do is they idle, which still burns fuel.
Yep, so basically, like I said, the best way to save fuel is kind of easily just let off in the corners tonight, and that's basically the best way to do it. So, yeah. Like I said, depending on tire where they had the wear stuff on, it's going to be depending on how they do the fuel.
I believe that they're going to be going ×2 tonight here at Kansas. So, yeah, their fuel load should be approximately 25 to 30 laps. Do you think that we'll see anybody short pitting here to try and gain track time?
That could be a huge possibility, especially in the final stage. That'll be where it would probably come in handy more. But yeah, I could say we'll probably definitely see some short pitting tonight.
And we're about 18 minutes from race time. I'm sorry that we really don't have much to touch on in this pre-race show. I mean, this is the first time that we're calling for this particular league. We've never seen these guys race before, so we can't really say tonight on who's going to have the advantage in this race. You know, it'll take us a couple weeks to really get a feel for how these guys run and which car we see is going to be the best car every week. So I mean, tonight's deal for this pre-race show is just to touch on the track a little bit and touch on these cars, but they're also running something different than we've ever seen before. So
yeah, I think 26. From what I'm hearing, there's a 26 lap window on fuel tonight. So there's a chance they may. So their fuel window would be 26, 25 laps.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was definitely in that window of 25 to 30 for sure. I mean, yeah, now we have an exact number of 26 laps on fuel. So,
but
some of them may want to come in a little bit sooner than that. If they're kind of far out, trying to, and they want to gain some, time or whatever on the car in front of them. Yeah, I mean, they may come in, a few laps earlier than somebody else. But, we've also seen here a lot in this track, too, that if you pit too early, you go a lap down, and it's really hard to get that lap back under green.
Yep. Definitely hard to get the laps back here on green. So, like I said, basically, if you go a lap down, you have to hope for a caution or hope the leader has some type of trouble so you can get that lap back.
Now we've also experienced in NASCAR Heat 3 that even though it'll tell you it's a certain lap, we've all seen that the fuel is usually a lap less than what it tells you at the very start of the race. Have you experienced that yourself?
I have actually a couple times, actually. I know I've experienced on Phoenix a couple times, and actually at Dago a couple weeks ago. So yeah, that definitely does happen. But then again, I run faster on those particular tracks. On some tracks, the way you would have that.
So I mean, it is going to be a high possibility that these guys, well, some of these guys may pit between 2 to 3 laps earlier than somebody else.
Exactly. So like I said, tonight I think it's going to be based off who has the better pit strategy tonight, especially in third stage. I think it's going to come down to that tonight. And if you get a penalty coming down if you come and get a penalty speeding down pit road tonight, that's also going to possibly play a huge factor.
That's actually something else that we have to touch on here real quick, is that we don't know what kind of penalty system they have in play tonight. I mean, this is not a regular season race for them. This is an exhibition race for them. So they may not be as strict on their penalties tonight. I mean, we never know at this point.
Personally, like I said, I know if they had the flags on, the black flags are going to be on, just because, and that if you get caught speeding pit road, you're going to get that little time delay of penalty.
Yeah, I believe that it's usually about a 3 to 5 second penalty down on pit road, where they'll make you sit there for an additional 3 to 5 seconds on your pit stop time. I mean, these guys definitely need to be careful on their speed down pit road. Being told that the Kansas pit road speed limit is 45 miles an hour, so we know that if they go above that, the NASCAR will black flag them if indeed the flags are on.
Yeah, because we saw that come into effect a couple weeks ago at the Kansas playoff race that Kevin Harvick sped down pit road, and that ended up costing them racing and ended up with Chase Elliott winning it. So that will definitely play a factor tonight.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, exactly, and I'm pretty sure that tonight, the guy that's going to have the fastest car is really going to want to watch, his speed down pit road, because we have seen that speeding penalties can cost a race.
Exactly, and like I said, penalties can make or break you, regardless. And sometimes you cannot recover from them. So tonight, where I think would make a driver the best if he does get a penalty is how quickly, if he can, recover from it.
I mean, even though this is an exhibition race, I mean, nobody wants to go out of here losing due to a speeding penalty down on pit road.
Exactly. So that would be basically a poor way to start off the season going into the actual first race, which is next week, I think, at Daytona, if I remember correctly. Will be the first race they're actually having.
I think they start out their season at Charlotte, I think.
Let's check real quick.
I have to double check that schedule. I believe that they start at Charlotte, but I do know that it's next week that they have their season opener. Yes, next week is Charlotte for their season opener.
Alright, sorry about that.
Their schedule is Charlotte, Dover, Indianapolis, Kansas, Las Vegas, Martinsville, Pocono, Texas, Talladega. And then their regular season ending races at Atlanta. Then their playoffs begin Auto Club, Watkins Glen, Chicagoland, Homestead, and they finish out their season at Daytona. It's a 15-race schedule.
Interesting choice for the last race that they're actually ending it at Daytona. That's actually pretty interesting.
They will be crowning a champion at Daytona.
Now,
they'll have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 race playoff.
Nice. That's actually pretty interesting right there. Especially that the last race itself is going to be at Daytona. Huh.
So, I mean, these guys are going to be running a lot of mile-and-a-halves here. A couple of super speedways. They have one road course. But, I mean, these guys are definitely running a lot of these mile-and-a-halves. Well, a few of these mile-and-a-halves, on here. So that's going to be obviously where their key is on how they're going to run the mile-and-a-half, because tonight is going to be a test of how they're going to run a mile-and-a-half track.
Exactly. Like I said, it should definitely be an interesting season, especially with the mile-and-a-halves. Now, I think the track I'd be looking for most is actually the playoff race at Watkins Glen, because that's usually an interesting course, regardless. And with it being the playoffs, it should be a little bit more interesting.
And it's like we said, we do apologize that we can't give information on these drivers. Just we've never seen them race. We'll have a better feel for somebody next week or the week after. It's just right now this is our first race calling for these guys. So we really don't know what to expect out of this race tonight. I mean, we're hoping to have a good, clean, exciting race tonight, but. I mean, it could be anything but that. It could be a wreck fest. It could be a caution fest. I mean, we just don't have the answers for you.
Exactly. So, kind of anxious to see how these guys drive tonight. Whew. Should definitely be an interesting one.
And I have to figure out a way to keep in contact with the tower to find out how many laps are left. That's going to be kind of tricky.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, then again, how many laps do we have in here again?
It's 134 total tonight. We're not sure what the stage lengths are.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Because they're running in-game stages and in-game cautions. We're not sure what the stages are going to be. Well, the stage lengths are going to be in the first two stages.
Yeah, well, I hope maybe one of them can kind of keep us updated in the actual chat during the in-game cautions and stuff. Maybe that's possible.
Well, we do have that broadcast team chat, so we can. We also have the league on in that chat. So I mean, during cautions, we can ask them, how many laps are left. That'll work. But that about wraps it up for this pre-race show. Sorry we couldn't get any more information about these cars tonight. But we will be live in about 10 minutes or so for the Charley's Beard Company 200 at Kansas Motor Speedway. Enjoy the race.
Alright, guys. So we got 8 more minutes till the start of this race. We will start resuming at race coverage in just here about 8 more minutes.
I'm going to go ahead and suspend the The broadcast.